Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kickback Presents the All Memphis Post Game Show. My name is Jamal. With me, I have here the homie Mase. And we are here to talk about tonight's game. The Memphis Grizzlies lost to the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't want to call it devastating because it wasn't like it was like, but it was a bad loss to the Lakers tonight. And Mace, you go ahead and start us off with some analysis.
Yeah, I mean, you're not upset about the outcome, right? Because that's what you expected coming into a game against the defending champs, and you got 9 players. It's not a fair fight, but it's just how it happened. The Grizz got off to a 20-point lead, basically, and then over the next 3 quarters, they were beaten by 25 points as they allowed the Lakers to come back and win this game pretty handily. So before we get into the analysis, did you have any keys to the game tonight?
You know what? I didn't. I was busy earlier today.
Hey, I got you, man. That's what we're here for. I pick up the slack. I pick up the slack. So I had a couple keys, right? Key number 1. This Lakers team was coming off 3 straight overtime games. They are on a 6-game winning streak now, 7. But I was like, Grizz got to give it to them early. We got to get some stops. The Lakers are one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to turnovers. Attack the paint early and push the pace, because I felt like if we could create some distance and hold that distance midway through the third quarter, I thought they might throw in the towel just because they've had such a rough go at it with all those overtime games. So we checked that box, honestly. We gave it to them early. we accomplished that key. My next key was win the offensive rebounding battle, because the Grizzlies are 4th in the league. The Lakers are 19th. We'll save that one for later, but spoiler alert, the Grizzlies didn't win that one. And then share the ball. I just thought with the Lakers being the best defense in the league, we had to, not go one-on-one, count on each other, trust each other. And for the most part, the Grizzlies, they had like 28 assists. So a pretty good night in that aspect, but, not enough to win the game.
Well, like I missed the first quarter, but when I checked my phone, we were up 18-2, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I mean,
what's going on?
The Lakers turned it over twice in a row. Valanciunas was getting some buckets. I think Dylan hit a 3. Then Dylan got a steal and a dunk that made it 11-0. So we were really getting out in transition and just free flowing. And our defense in that, like the first part of that first quarter, was the best it's been. Even better than the third quarter of last game against Charlotte. So they were really locking up. JV had 11 quick ones when it was 20-2. The Lakers had turned it over 3 times, but they had no open shots. AD was 0 for 4. And man, the tides changed with that one. But yeah, we got up to 22-2, had a 20-point lead, brought the bench unit in and kind of started turning the ball over. AD got aggressive late in the first and kind of made it manageable. End of the first quarter, it was 31-16. The Lakers, worst first quarter of the season, blah, blah, blah. Grizz had 9 assists. JV had 7. Dylan had 7 to complement JV's 11. And everything was looking good for the Grizzlies. But, you knew this being the Lakers and having LeBron James and Anthony Davis. AD's first game back, a little rusty to start off, but he really got it going as the game went on.
Yeah, he did. And everybody started to look a little bit more comfortable as the game went on. And I think a lot of it, what you said, was the Lakers played 2 overtime games this year. Not this year.
They played 3 in a row. 3
in a row, right? 2 against the Thunder, and then before that. And so they came into this game tired legs and looking tired. And you can, like I said, I wasn't able to watch the first half with my eyes, but just looking at the stats and listening to how the announcers called it. Afterwards, you can tell that they started slow and they looked kind of sluggish. And you would have thought, and if this team was whole, I think that Lakers team probably would have. I don't want to say would have folded, but probably would have had a better chance. Like they knew they could come back against this team because we didn't have a full team.
Yeah,
like you know what I'm saying. So like once you get somebody down that way, like it's the NBA, like runs happen all the time. But I don't think the Lakers were ever worried about this, even when they got down. They just kept crawling back into it. And so I started watching probably midway through the second quarter with Dylan and LeBron kind of going at it a little bit, Ja doing some things. But throughout that time we kept like a 10-point lead. It was about 10, 12 points throughout the whole second quarter. And then, you go into the half. We're by, let's look at the score. We're about at half.
It was 59-46.
Yeah, we're about 13.
And that was the Lakers' largest halftime deficit of the season. But yeah, I was really impressed. Every time they made a run, I mean, they came right out. I think Montrez took a charge, and then LeBron got a bucket, and then the Lakers kind of stayed in that attack mode, and they started getting a lot of calls. But every time it got within 10, we answered. Xavier Tillman hit a 3 out of the timeout in the corner. And basically every time we called a timeout, we came and answered. Dylan got a dunk on the baseline out of bounds play shortly before halftime. And he was screaming. He let his man yell out. And then Ja hit the 3 as the buzzer sounded. So you felt good about that, going up 13 in the halftime. They only cut into the lead 2 points after the awesome first quarter.
No, I would say like part of that, like Dylan dunked that out of the out of bounds play, and he yelled, and LeBron wasn't his primary defender, but he yelled in LeBron's face, right? And so right down the court,
I don't think he yelled in his face.
He yelled in his vicinity, and right down the court, Dylan was guarding LeBron, and he picked up his third foul, maybe a play or two after that, on a LeBron post up or whatever it was. And he went to the bench. And LeBron, for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm not going to call it a rivalry or whatever, but Dylan gets under LeBron's skin. Because the last game, Dylan said some shit that got LeBron going. In this game, he was talking shit to LeBron. And LeBron, you can hear him at the free throw line, like, let me get him. Let me get him. It's like, what's really going on between the two of them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it ain't no telling with Dylan. But I don't think their circles intermix outside of hoops. So I hope not. I don't think so. Right. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers got 11 free throws in the second, and LeBron had 9 points at halftime, and 5 of those were from the line. So I thought Dylan did a really good job in the first half on LeBron, but unfortunately, he did kind of awaken the beast. And in the second half, LeBron he finished with 28, so he had 19 points in the second half. But yeah, the AD only had 9 too, and we were keeping them at bay. We had 20 points off 11 Lakers turnovers, so we were really converting at a high level. They only had 12 points off of 9 Grizzlies turnovers. And for the most part, the rest of the stats were the same, except for we were shooting 50% from the 3 at the half, hit 7 of 14, and the Lakers were 2 of 13. So that was basically the difference in the ball game right there.
I like the energy that our team started out with. Obviously, like you said, JV had a big first quarter, big first half, and Ja was doing what he could do. They played with a confidence. Like they knew, not like they knew they could beat this team, but they were feeling themselves that they could beat this team. You know what I'm saying? And Grayson was making shots, which goes to your brilliant analysis about how Grayson and Ja play well together. Like, it's just that first half was probably about as good as it can get, and then we got into the second half, and it was what it was.
Yeah, and I mean, we had nothing off the bench. Tyus had 8 assists, but I felt like he didn't have a great night until I saw those 8 assists.
Yeah.
Just from watching the game, it didn't seem like he was that great, but really nothing off the bench. Conchar came in, got some rebounds, but really undersized for this Lakers team. We gave up 5 offensive rebounds to Kyle Kuzma, and I think it was with like Ja, Dylan, and Grayson in at the same time. And we just don't have, a good enough rebounding team to be able to go so small. So the Lakers just really took advantage of us not having depth down low or being able to rebound.
All right, so let's jump to the third quarter. Right at the halftime, we start the third quarter with a 13-point lead, and we don't end it that way. And the Lakers scored 41 points in that third quarter.
Hold on. Let's remind everyone how it started. Kyle Anderson still gets a steal from LeBron, takes it all the way down court. Boom, boom, slow-mo style, gets bumped from LeBron, shoots it. It drops. It bounces around a couple times and it drops. It's like, oh, that's a great moment. The Grizzlies are about to push this lead. But inexplicably, the refs say it doesn't count. The shot doesn't count. Even though Kyle didn't dribble, he gathered and shot, and the basket was good. And they say it doesn't count.
The first time they don't have a continuation ever in the history of the NBA. Like, that is your prime time continuation. The foul's call, he took one step and he threw it up. Like, that shot should have counted.
And as soon as that happened, I just thought it was super deflating for the team because the calls already kind of weren't going their way. And we've seen this team kind of get down when calls don't go their way and show some frustration. Not a lot of bad body language tonight. I didn't see any of that, but it was just energy deflation. And the Lakers were kind of able to take control of the game from there on. Dylan had 2 turnovers. Ja forced a bad 3 early on. And then before you know it, like it was only an 8-point lead. Then it was 4, but we answered again. Grayson hit a 3. We pushed the lead back to about 7. It was 68-61. Then we went to the zone defense, which didn't work in the fourth quarter. It wasn't that bad in the third quarter. We had the JV hit Ja on the backdoor cut, pushed it to 9, 72-63. I was feeling good at that point. Midway through the third, we're up 9.
I was too, no lie. No, like the whole third quarter, even in like, I didn't know that the Lakers scored 41 points until I looked at this. Like, I pulled these stats up because I mean, I guess it felt like they scored a lot, but it didn't really feel like they scored a lot because, like, midway through the third quarter, we were still up by like 9 or 11 points. What got me in the third quarter, besides the Zebras, were you can just see where this team is without the talent, right? So like when Ja and Jonas are on the court, really good. You take them off the court in the game like tonight, really bad. Like I remarked a couple times out loud, like, who's going to score in this lineup? Like I talked about at one point, Ja was 5 of 12 from the field in probably mid third quarter, and I commented out loud like he needs more shots. I said he should end this game with about 18 to 21 shots. He finished with 18, but with the team in the current state they're in, like, Ja, you're the superstar. You got to start taking these shots. You know what I'm saying? And like I didn't write the lineup down. I wish I did. So I'm going off memory from what I think. We ended the third quarter with Tyus, Conchar, Gorgie, Tillman, and Grayson, maybe.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, and it was again, give it to Grayson and see if he can score. Basically,
Right. And I'm like, look at that lineup. There's nothing. And then maybe the lineup before that, you had like Ja, Grayson, and Kyle Anderson, and some more people that might be able to score, but there wasn't a scoring lineup, right? There wasn't a scoring lineup. There wasn't a defensive lineup. So like, even in that third quarter, part of me started being like, oh, there's just the roster limitations. You know what I'm saying? We don't have our players. So yeah, we got to. But then I read a tweet and it was like, The Lakers have had fouls called the last 7 possessions. And I started looking and started thinking, like, you know what? They have had a foul called against the Grizzlies for the last 7 possessions, which put them in a bonus and made them get free throws and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, it don't matter what combination of roster we put out there. If y'all don't call a foul every time down the court, it don't really matter. It ain't matter. It don't matter what we can do. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, Ja went to the free throw line with 4:39 left in the quarter, and that was our first free throws in what felt like since the first quarter. We had 4 early on in the second quarter, but and it's not like we're not attacking the paint. You know, I think we're second in the league in points in the paint, if not first. We live in the paint. Ja's getting bumped, and he's laying it up. Anthony Davis is hitting him with his body. And Ja's doing a great job using the rim as protection and like still making it. And he's not getting the calls. Even on some of his floaters and stuff, you know, calls that other players just as good as him or not as good as him are getting these calls. He finally got one on a bump when Caruso bumped him on a little floater from behind.
Because it was Caruso. If it would have been Anthony Davis or somebody, they wouldn't have called it.
Right. But, the Lakers closed the third, the last like 2 minutes on a 14-2 run. We had that weak foul on Wes Matthews in the corner. Yep. When he pump faked and jumped sideways, which is not supposed to, matter, but you're not supposed to give the shooter that call if they jump sideways. He did not go straight up, but Gorgie put himself in a bad position. Then I think Ja had a turnover and Bron got an and one off the turnover, and then Bron hit that 3 right at the buzzer, and it was 87-82 heading into the fourth quarter before you know it. And the Lakers had 16 points off of turnovers in that quarter alone. Grizzlies turned the ball over 7 times. That bad of a quarter. And the Lakers only turned it over twice. And it's just LeBron had 13, AD had 11. And, I mean, they just controlled that quarter. And it didn't feel like we played that bad. I think the Lakers just really turned it on. And then, you get to the end of the game and AD has 35. I didn't realize that as the game was happening.
And you said he went scoreless the first quarter, or he started 0 for 5. He started
0 for 5. He was 0 for 5 and he finished 16 for 27. So he hit 16 of his last 21 shots.
And the bad, the egregious, that was in the first. No, it was second half. The egregious LeBron James flop. Was that first half or second half?
I think that was as they were making their run to close the first half.
Yep. This one he got Dylan. He got somebody on a flop. It's like, come on, that's one of the reasons why I hate Chris Paul. Because if you're so good and you're so great, you don't need to resort to those type of antics. LeBron, same thing. The fact that they had all the fouls called against them. When we didn't, the fact that we are, I think I got this stat right. We've taken the least free throws in the league.
Yeah. Yep.
But we consistently score more than 60 points in the paint or 40, 45 points in the paint. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't those numbers don't really correlate. The fact that you attack the paint so much, you don't get to the free throw line. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to say we shoot more floaters than the average team, okay, I'll buy that. But we shouldn't be last in the league, middle of the pack at minimum. Let us be 20th. Jeez. 4 more free throws a game, and this thing could change. But the fourth quarter, basically, the Lakers pushed the lead wide open. Bron scored, was talking some shit to the Grizzlies bench. The refs missed the offensive interference call from Kyle Kuzma, one of his 5 offensive rebounds where he clearly tipped the ball.
Clearly.
One ref called it, and then the other ref was like, nope, he didn't touch it. And, they don't review it. They don't look at it. Taylor Jenkins doesn't challenge it. And Taylor Jenkins has got to show some fire on the sideline. You've got to get behind your players. I think he's, doing a really good job. But it's happening time and time again. You're clearly getting rooked. You got to go Fizdale on them.
They not gonna rook us,
but they are.
Take that for data.
Time and time again, we're getting rooked, and we're not rookies.
And I look, man. Y'all make a lot of money, and you get fined when you get texts and you get, yo,
It
bro.
goes to charity. You write it off on your taxes.
Yo, put that $1,200, $1,500 up, man. You have to do that. You have to start getting mad and you have to start advocating for yourself and advocating for somebody who's like, yo, that's a fucking flop. No, that's a bad call. Like, you have to start saying this stuff to the refs so they can understand, like, bro, like, don't do us this way. We already down 4 of our top 8 players.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need y'all to compound the fact that we don't have our entire team.
And yeah, and at some point, your players have got to be like, yo, like, you got to stick up for us, man. It's like they've got to at least be feeling that. They might not express it outwardly, but, you know, at some point, you just got to do it for the sake of your players. You got this young team. They're getting frustrated. The lead's ballooning. And I just felt like it was one of those moments where you needed to get a technical foul, and he didn't. Yeah. And I'm not sure if you can challenge that offensive interference call that they stopped the game. So I assume you could. If you could challenge that, why not? Like I said, I don't know the rules exactly. But then as like the league got to 10, Jamal, we went to this 1-2-2 zone, and we've talked about this zone before. It was a 2-3 previously, but it's when Ja Morant's at the bottom. And I said when they attack from the opposite side, Ja has to cover the rim. And that's impossible. And with the 1-2-2, they didn't even have to attack the opposite side. They just posted AD up on the block, and he said, "Hey, I've got Ja Morant. Throw it up."
I don't understand the principles of the zone. Like, zones have to have principles, and people have to know what they need to be and do whatever. And I don't get it. Not that zone.
And we were getting killed on the offensive boards.
We're getting killed on the offensive boards. And like part of me, when I watched, like I said, that last 3 minutes of the third quarter, and I just wanted to chalk it up to roster, right? We got John Conchar making circus layups. You know what I'm saying? We got people. We're asking people to do things that they are not equipped to do.
And that's ultimately what it comes down to.
And still being in games. And that's what's frustrating about all of this. Like, if this was a 12-15, I mean, it was a 10-point loss. So if it was a 12 to 20-point loss, I would have liked that better than us to lose like this right now, because we had a chance to win. We were winning and in the game until forces outside of our control took over. Even with the compromised roster, even with all of that, we were still playing well enough to win this game, and we didn't. And that's what frustrates you the most.
Yeah, and you know, the second half, Valanciunas didn't really do much. He had 15 at the end of the first half, and then he finishes with 22. He did have 8 boards and 5 assists, but the Lakers really just, made it difficult on him, and a matter of the Grizzlies' offense not making shots and things just not being open.
Right.
You mentioned Ja. He shot 7 for 18 for the night. Finished with 22 and 10, so his best scoring output since he's been back in a double-double. So
I've been asking for him to get 20 points. Like, it boggles my mind that we have the situation in the last 2 games, especially, where we don't have the roster that we thought we would have, even with Brandon and DeAnthony, where Ja doesn't get 20 points. Like, it's 20 points is the minimum for him now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to do that just for this team to be competitive. Like, as much as I like Grayson's not gonna give you 23 points a game. He's not. Like, Jonas is going to give you between 14 and 18, between 14 and 16 more really. And then, you just and I say it every time, you really never know what you're gonna get out of Dylan. You might get 18 out of Dylan, you might get 6 out of Dylan. You don't know what you're gonna get out of Kyle. You might get 2 out of Kyle, you might get 24 out of Kyle. You like those 2. Actually, I'm gonna take my comment about Grayson away. That's fine. Grayson might give you 23 every 35 games. Who cares? You can get between 8 and 10 with Grayson every night. But between Dylan and Kyle, you never know what you're gonna get. You just never know what you're gonna get, and they have to be better at that.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that kind of gets into Dylan's performance. We hit on JV not really being there in the second half, but Dylan started off hot, and then he had 12 in the first half, and so he didn't score in the second half, and that's, I guess, when LeBron started guarding him. So I guess he poked the bear. Finished 5 of 13, 3 turnovers. Did nothing in the second half. Kyle finished with 6 points. Gave you 6 boards, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Played some good D, but not good enough D, obviously, because we got ran out in the second half. And then back to Ja, your boy Richard Jefferson, your fellow Wildcat, was calling for Ja to take over the game at some point, and you thought it was going to happen for a second there in the third quarter. I think he scored like 6 or 7 there in a row, but just never really asserted himself. And give the Lakers credit. They are the best defense in the league, and especially in the fourth quarter, they were not going to let Ja get going. Much like we've seen in other losses, like Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, you're going to have to beat us, and we'll let you shoot these threes. Grayson started hitting some late in the fourth to inflate his numbers. He finished with 23, 6 of 10 from the three. I mean, you'll take that any day of the week. And, I guess we forgot to mention Desmond Bane wasn't with the team. His grandmother passed away, so he's with his family. So, thoughts and prayers to his family. Sorry to hear that about D. Bane. And, he was in the starting lineup. That starting lineup with Desmond Bane actually was outscoring opponents by 10 points per 100 possessions. So they had something going. I don't think there's much drop off between Grayson and Bane.
No.
But when you're missing one of them, and that's a key off your bench, that's a huge deal.
You missed the body. You missed the body, right? So like, even if Desmond was available and Grayson started over him, you still miss the fact that you can get 10 to 12 minutes out of Desmond. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, more than that, really. You get 20.
Yeah, all of that plays a part of it.
And I think Grayson's probably a little further along than Desmond. I like what he can do off the bounce and stuff a little more, but I'm okay with Bane starting because I think ultimately he would be a better fit. He's got the better size and stuff, and Grayson could be that spark plug off the bench type. And yeah, we'll see if we ever get players back. I keep thinking about those Jaren Jackson Jr. games in the bubble, how aggressive he was offensively, how much pressure that would take off Ja Morant. We don't really know if him and Valanciunas work together, but it should, it should.
Theoretically, it should. And I hate to be such like a pie in the sky, but like, God, man, you look at the starting lineup of Ja, Dylan, Justice, Jaren, Jonas. Decent starting lineup. And then I'm just more excited about the bench because off the bench you got Tyus, Desmond, Grayson. Melton. Oh shit. Right, forget that. Tyus, Milton,
Kyle,
like all of the
Tillman, Gorgie, Grayson.
That whole bench, the whole bench is we're not like that's not in a winning roster this year. You know what I'm saying? But that is a competitive roster, and you get them together and you get the right system going with them. That can be something that can get us competitive and get us to where we want to be. You feel what I'm saying? And so like. Think about a bench unit like that, dog. Tyus, DeAnthony. You put Desmond Bane at the 3, Kyle Gorgie. Or you say, you know what, we'll do Tyus, Desmond Bane, Grayson. You put Kyle at the you can do go small if you want to. Like it's whatever. Just to be able to have that talent, to be able to put out these different rosters the way they are. I really want this team to get healthy.
Yeah, or maybe Justice plays with that bench unit because he can be a ball handler and help Tyus, and yeah, I mean, but who knows if we ever see that? No updates on Justice or Jaren. We're about halfway through February, so right. Justice said he's playing this month. We'll see, but just to wrap up the game. Grizzlies shot 49%. Lakers shot 51%. Grizzlies actually shot 41% from 3. We've been shooting the hell out of the ball. Lakers only shot 20%.
Shooting it really well.
Now here's the big one. The free throws. Lakers 23 of 33. Grizzlies 15 of 19. Points in the paint, which was something I thought the Grizzlies needed to win. We lost. The Lakers had 58. Grizzlies 46. Our bench only scored 20 points. Lakers bench had 41. Led mainly by Kuzma's 20, and then Trez had 14. So, hell, that's most of their bench points. Caruso probably had a couple points. Points off turnovers were the same. Turnovers were basically the same. But the Lakers out rebounded us on the offensive end. They had 13, we had 6, and they scored 21 second chance points. We scored 11, just like it was last game, except last game it was in the Grizzlies' favor. The margin is equal to the margin in second chance points. 10 points. Lakers outscored us 21-11. We lose the game 105-115.
I'm looking at these stats right now. We had 31 assists on 39 made buckets. That's pretty good. So we got 80 shots up. They got 85. We had 29 threes up. They had 30. So, those numbers were close. These ads on ESPN. Jesus Christ.
What
is this?
As the what you been Googling, bro?
Nothing, brother. I don't even know what's going on.
Beautiful women from the 90s. You must have been.
I
heard us talking about the Britney Spears documentary before the show, so that's probably what it was.
We're cultured over here, guys.
So yeah. What were we just saying before those ads interrupted us?
The shots, the assist to shot ratio.
Okay, yeah. So as the game was progressing and as we were losing, I was really deflated. I'm like, man, what are we doing? Like bad loss. But now that I've had a couple minutes to take a step back, take a couple sips of wine, it's like, well, yeah, I would have predicted a 10-point loss probably coming into this game in LA. And we didn't play that bad. We had one really bad quarter, the third. You played one good half and you played the fourth quarter, which was, not that bad. So you just hope you can build on it and go win in Sacramento.
Man, look, you played, to be honest, you played 3 good quarters tonight. In the one quarter you didn't play that well. The one quarter you didn't. The third quarter was the third quarter, and I wish I just thought about this now. I don't know. Have we given up 40 points in a quarter before this season?
Probably. Some of those games we got whooped, so probably.
Probably the Indiana game for sure.
I feel like Jaylen Brown scored 40 in a quarter himself against us.
That's a great point. You played 2.5 good quarters tonight. I'm gonna be bringing it down every sentence I say. You played 2 good quarters tonight. And you just build on that, and as long as this roster is where it is now, I think this is what we are. I think we're gonna beat the teams we're supposed to beat, and we're gonna lose to the teams we're supposed to lose to. And some of the teams that's in the same tier as us, those are toss-ups. Like Sunday's a toss-up. We got Sacramento on Sunday.
That's the problem, Jamal, is with our current roster, like there's not many teams we're expected to beat. We got 9 players.
So it's a toss-up. So
we should shout out to the front office for getting players that don't suck. We're at wit's end and we're still competing with the best of the best. So
correct. Shout out to them.
Because we've seen years where we get to this point and
there's nothing we can do. It's over with. Like I've applauded. We just spent 3 minutes ago, 3-4 minutes, we talked about our second unit, the potential of the second unit is a very productive unit, and that's just from the roster building that the front office did, and that's coming to help us now. And obviously, Desmond Bain dealing with the family situation he has, I take as much time as he needs, but it's not an injury, so he'll be back. He'll be back soon. Maybe
we'll see with the how much he's gonna have to quarantine. I'm sure he's probably testing every day. But they still may make him quarantine for a couple of days when he gets back.
I didn't think about that at all. I didn't think about that. So maybe
he plays for the Grizzlies and not the Lakers. So who knows what type of rules he'll get.
Also, I didn't. I guess you watched the ESPN the ESPN broadcast, right?
I did.
I should have watched the Brevin and Pete broadcast.
It seemed like Brevin was going off.
Yeah, so I can hear what they were saying, because as much RJ's my guy. Arizona Wildcat, bear down.
He said a couple. He tried to say it in the second quarter. He put something in there that's what happens when you play the Lakers or something like that.
Yeah, but he was the media is very pro Lakers anyway.
He gave a one time too, and he knew what was happening. He could see it. He's been in that position before, and it's it was when they challenged the call against Grayson and they won the challenge, and he was like, "Yeah, but they've been getting away with shit all game." Like,
right, yeah, right. So it's like but I just wanted to see what I would have. I should have listened to Pete and Brevin about what they were talking about. I mean, because like I watched a YouTube clip or a Twitter clip of them when LeBron's flop, and Brevin was exasperated. He wasn't happy with it at all. So all right, let's get to these superlatives. So because I want to talk about the game on Sunday before we do anything. So who was your player of the game?
I gotta go Anthony Davis. I mean, I didn't even realize he had 35 points. And to finish 16 of his last 21, I mean, he was basically just dominant in that game and got whatever he wanted. Felt his presence on both ends. So good first game back for AD from the Achilles injury.
I'll go Ja with 22 and 10. I've been asking for him to score 20 points. He got 20 points, 10 assists. I'll take that. I don't know what more he could have done tonight. I was maybe score a little bit more.
It's 7 to 18, like
maybe score a little bit, but he missed a couple, but like the floaters, some of the floaters didn't fall. I don't know if I like him taking 4 3-pointers a game. I understand he needs to take them just to keep the defense honest, but that's not part of his game yet. And I don't know if I like him taking that many a game.
Especially when he's just dribbling at the top and then takes it because it's there, like it's there for a reason. I hate when we take shots and there's no passes on a possession, or there's only one pass and we just take a bad three that you could get at any moment.
Right.
The worst team in the league at that. Like, we're not good. We don't have the personnel to just come down and jack up threes without moving the ball and getting a good look. So what about your play of the game?
Now we gotta go bum first. Who you got for your bum?
Dude, I mean, the refs, bro. The refs. No, you know what? You usually go the refs. So I'm gonna go Taylor Jenkins, man. You guys stick up for your team.
For the coach. Taylor's first. You know what I'm gonna start doing? I'm gonna start keeping account of who we call as the bum, and we're gonna do like a bum of the year at the end of the year.
I think this is his first time down this road, but you got to stick up for your team. You can't call that damn zone with, Ja Morant down there at the bottom, just barbecue chicken for AD to score 4 quick ones, monkey dunking. So, yeah, I'm unfortunately going to go Jinx. I mess with you, man, but tough one tonight.
I'm going to go with I don't want to call him just familiar bum, but this isn't the first time I've given this guy bum of the game. I'm giving it to Justice Winslow. Wear better clothes. Justice Winslow has no style, cannot dress. And he was like laughing and kikiing it up with LeBron after a play. Like LeBron did something in the first half. I don't know if he got a foul on Dylan or something. He just walks by the bench and Justice like take his mask down and he makes a joke to LeBron. LeBron started like, bruh, first off, button your shirt up, put the chest away, and get serious. So yeah, Justice Winslow's outfit is my bum of the game.
You think he said like, "Hey, you like Miami or LA better?" Or like,
right?
Like, yeah, that's not a good look. And I know that was a topic of discussion on Grizzlies Twitter as well. Justice kind of had been dapping up and he and ha-ha with the Lakers players throughout the game, and that's not what we're about.
Also, other people picked up on that.
Wasn't. Yep. So it's happened multiple times throughout the game. So, all right, now your play of the game.
I have the out of bounds play where Dylan got the dunk, because there wasn't a drawn up play. Once again, it was like they set up for something and Dylan and Kyle made eye contact and they knew what they wanted to do, which was reminiscent to the game against Charlotte the other night where Ja and Kyle made eye contacts off a play that it wasn't drawn up that way. And Ja got a lob. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give it to Dylan. I'm going to give it to that play as my play of the game.
Yeah, if I was gonna go Grizzlies, I would go Jaws 3 before the halftime buzzer.
That's a good one.
It's only 3 of the game. Really just gave us that momentum after the Lakers had kind of made a charge there all throughout the second quarter, really. But I thought the play of the game came in the fourth quarter. Grizzlies had tried to make a little run. It wasn't, I think it was like 14 points, but Mark caught the ball on the wing. LeBron cut backdoor on the baseline. Mark fed him with a nice bounce pass, and he just tomahawked that thing home. And it was LeBron doing LeBron things.
We've seen LeBron do that dunk a million times, and I never get tired of it.
No, I mean it's a classic.
It's even more special in your 17th year in the league. 18th year in the league.
I mean, and it's not like he's not getting up high anymore. It's not like Vince Carter was, but by the time we saw him, like he's still leaping out of the gym, and like he tried to dunk on Dylan Brooks earlier in the game. Like he does not like Dylan, which
he does not
like to Dylan.
He does not like Dylan, bro. That's something that we're done playing them now, right? We played them 3 times.
I hope we're done playing them. Jeez, I feel like we're not playing any teams this year. We get the Lakers 3 times. We'll probably get the Clippers 3 times in a row after the All-Star break. Because Zion needs all the help he can, because the Pelicans played no defense. If you watch the game before the Grizzlies, Luka just did whatever he want. Him and Porzingis both had over 30, and Luka I think had 46
career high 46 points.
That's a cold boy. That's a cold white boy.
It's a cold white boy.
But the Pelicans would not guard. Like he was just dribbling, like doing one spin move. Like, all right, I'll lay it in. It's like playing against your little brother.
I know. Get out of here, bro. I did not win money tonight. Lost money tonight.
I didn't even want to ask. I had a feeling you lost money tonight.
I lost some money tonight, and what I lost on, I did a stats thing again. I said, this is how, bro. This is how close I be. I had Dylan would score over 12.5 points.
Oh.
Scored 12.
It had to be Dylan.
It had to be Dylan, right? Kyle, I said would score over 9 points because he's been like, Kyle's been consistent, like whatever.
Coming off the game of his life.
Scored 6. And it's only 9 points, bro. Scored 9 points in the NBA game when you play 30 minutes, Kyle Anderson.
I mean, and the difference between when Kyle hits 2 threes and when Kyle hits 0 threes, it's huge on this team. And I thought Kyle was forcing it tonight. We didn't even get into him, but I thought he was forcing it. Took a couple of his bad floaters. Maybe should have gotten foul calls based on how they were calling the game on the other end, but it really put us in a bad spot.
I think he was trying to get some calls. I had Jonas getting over 9 rebounds. I brought that down. He had 8 tonight. I brought it down because usually you can count on Jonas getting about 10 to 11, but with AD and Mark on the other side, even though Mark isn't that active with them, I brought it down to 9, even with Montrez too, whatever. I had Dylan getting over 1.5 rebounds. I mean, he didn't even get a rebound tonight. Like, this is probably the only game he's gotten 0 rebounds. Like, you didn't, like, whatever, bro. Like,
who hates Dylan more, LeBron James or Jamal Body?
Jamal Body. That's not even a question. And then I had on the Lakers side, I had Dennis Schroeder scoring over 10 points because the last like 4 games he's had over 10, and he had a good 4 points, 6 points tonight, whatever it was. What did Dennis Schroeder had 2?
I know he had 4 fouls for the like whole game. It felt like
I only took 4 shots, had 4 fouls, and to be honest, so this is what I was doing, which is just a bad calculation on my part. I knew this was AD's first game back after missing a couple, and I could have put him over 15. Like, I could have. He's like Anthony Davis is going to score between 15 to whatever points every time he plays, but the odds weren't right. So like the odds to get AD at like a 17, 18 points, which I thought he could really do. I didn't expect 35 out of him tonight. The odds weren't where I wanted to be, but the odds at Dennis Schroeder getting over 10, the odds were pretty good because he's scored over 10 in a bunch of games recently. Not tonight though. So
hey, how about Frank Vogel Thibodeau bringing AD out for 35 minutes in his first game back to
per
lead
game
the team
back?
in minutes?
Like, what do you like, bro? Like
And
what are
it's
you
not like he
doing?
LeBron. LeBron had 34.
Like, I want to look. I think LeBron scored a lot against us. And I also had I had LeBron getting over 6 rebounds, over 6 assists, which he did. Had let me get my right. I had Ja scoring over 15, which he did. Jonas scoring over 12, which he did.
Nice.
Ja over 6 assists. LeBron over 6 assists. LeBron over 6 rebounds. Montrezl Harrell over 9.5 points and over 3.5 rebounds. It's like the stuff I got. I just get so close and it pisses me off.
You're right there.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do a show on Sunday because Sunday's Valentine's Day, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch the game and do all that stuff. So let's just get some predictions out for this Sacramento game on Sunday. My key to the game: whoever wins the matchup between Ja and De'Aaron Fox, because De'Aaron Fox has been busting. De'Aaron Fox wants to bust Ja's ass every time he sees him.
Thanks, Amino Hassan. It actually started before that. Fox gave Ja fits last year, just being basically Ja Morant 2.0. Like, he's fast. He's just as fast, if not faster. He's quick. He's a little bigger. He's long. I love De'Aaron Fox. And hopefully, it'd be nice if Sacramento could become decent with him, but hopefully he gets out of Sacramento and goes somewhere where he can not waste his career.
Yeah.
I think he's got all the tools ever since we saw him at the NCAA. I think it was Sweet 16 when he just gave it to Lonzo Ball.
And he's been eating Lonzo up since then too.
Yeah. So, but Fox set out tonight. So maybe it was just one of those, hey, let's get you some rest. But, the Kings, they need every win they can get. So I think both of us come into the game one game under 500. The Grizzlies are 10-11. I think the Kings lost tonight, so they're 12-13. But yeah, I agree. I hope we get a 30 for 30. Like both just going at it. The Kings, they don't play a lot of defense. So this is a game that I feel like the Grizzlies have a chance in, even with 9 players. Maybe we get someone back. Seems like D'Anthony Melton might have dislocated his shoulder. I don't know. Is it he ran into someone and then he kind of walked off the court like his shoulder was fucked. And it doesn't seem like a bruise or anything, because if he just bruised it, he'd probably be back by now. I feel like he's been out like a week and a half. So
yeah, he didn't play at all this week. Yeah.
Who knows with that? Brandon Clark, I think, has got a calf injury, and calf injuries can lead to other injuries in the lower foot area, Achilles or whatever. So you got to be careful with that. So I don't expect the Grizzlies to win, honestly, in Sacramento, but I do expect it to be a close game and the Grizzlies have a chance to win. I don't expect to go in there and get blown out.
Yeah, me neither. I don't trust Sacramento's roster just as much as I don't trust our roster against them. But
if there's no Fox, we should win.
If De'Aaron doesn't play, we should win. I'm going to love to watch De'Aaron versus Ja. Usually around this time of the year, this is All-Star weekend. So usually Valentine's Day weekend is All-Star weekend. So you watch the All-Star game on tomorrow night. You would watch the dunk contest on Saturday night. Watch the dunk contest or not. But so I think both your wife and my wife understand that they're married to 2 basketball junkies. So basketball will probably be on the TV on Valentine's Day as we eat our dinner and drink our wine.
Right.
But yeah, man.
Hey, happy first Valentine's Day as a married couple.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Didn't go as all out as romantic as I could because we just spent a lot of money on a wedding a few months ago. But
yeah, we just doing some dinner. We're not exchanging presents or nothing. So once you get to your second one, man, you can kind of take it down a little bit.
Get that second married Valentine. Like, look, we here. You know what it is. Me, you, I love you, girl. Get out of here.
Yeah, well, we got some things coming up that might cost some money. So
yeah, yeah. Y'all got to save. Y'all got to save. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Hey, we'll see what type of relocation package we're talking about. But Grizzlies fall under 500 once again. I'm not mad at the loss. I'll
Me
take
neither.
it. But let's go into Sacramento and get a dub. Head into another tough stretch of games after that. Playing a lot of games, and let's just hope we start to get some players back at some point.
And with that, like you said, man, that is the Kickback presents All Memphis Post Game Show. I'm Jamal. That's Mase. Mase, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at BarnburnerSlim. You can find the show on YouTube at Diamond in the Bluff Media. Where else can they find us, Jay?
They can find me at Twitter at Nerdy McFly, on Facebook at Diamond in the Bluff Productions, the Kickback Pod, on Twitter on IG at the_Kickback_podcast. We're all out there, man. This is a fun thing we do after every Memphis basketball game. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do a Tigers game maybe next week if they get through the COVID stuff, because I want to talk about the Tigers.
Yeah,
so
whole AAC struggling, so I don't know, man.
I don't know either. And I think we said it last show, the show before, the Tigers can't play these games, those tournament hopes look slim. So
unless other teams start losing,
unless other teams start losing, that's what it is. So with that being said, that is Mase. I am Slim, and we are out.
Peace.